This is Cabin Conversations, a regular professional podcast here at Woodlands Church. I'm Dave, here with co-host Whitney Swenson. Hey, Whitney.
Dave, professionals.
We've been doing this for 5 years, so
Yeah.
we're really good at this. But it has changed a number of times, like the form and the location, all of those things.
There's also that, like, if somebody put a rule out there that you need 10,000 hours of something to master it, and I'm pretty sure we're
not quite there.
Not quite there.
No.
So half an hour at a pop.
Our guest this week is
Once a week,
Keelea.
maybe.
It is the second week of the month, and so we get Keelea on, which is wonderful. So, hi, Keelea.
Hi.
Just for anyone at church on Sunday, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. Whitney, you're leaving staff, which is just a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah,
which has made us all sad too.
Yeah, I think the two words I've used is there's a relief and there's a grief.
Yeah,
in all of it, and I'm realizing more and more the grief of just it's the people, the community. Who was I talking with? Somebody. Nancy Perry. I met with Nancy Perry yesterday to process a little bit, and was just like the grief of. I would have loved to see Nancy more. I worked with her really, really closely for the first part of taking over group life. And then she retired and Lauren came on, and like beautiful transition, both beautiful people. Love the time that I get to spend with Lauren, but I miss Nance too, just like sitting across from like, man, why don't we do this more? And it's just, life is full and busy. And so there's a reality of proximity that will lessen that I'm grieving.
Well, I know, theoretically, Jed will be in your office working, and what a blessing to have Jed in your office working, and what a sadness to not have you in your office working. And that's very much how we'll feel. And we've had longer to process that maybe than some of the congregation or things like that. And so I'm just so thankful that you'll continue to be around here too. Continue to be part of our family here at Woodlands, our church.
Yeah. I think the community of Woodlands Church is a unique one, and we have been blessed to be in it. We've been blessed by it. It's all of it. So we'll continue to plug in, be here.
And I think it's worth saying too, congratulations on making that decision, because that's a hard thing to do.
Yes.
Anytime you transition in life, in ministry, and that sort of stuff, it's not this is easy.
Yeah. No, there's nothing easy about that kind of decision.
So it's good for you and for Brian and for Soph and just for the family that you've been able to kind of cross that. And now word is out there. Listeners might wonder, what does that mean for the future of Cabin Conversations?
Yeah.
And to that, we will say, we absolutely don't know. So there's been some conversation, but we'll definitely finish up this season. You're around
I'm around till the end of May.
Yep. So we'll continue working through that.
We'll do what we can. Yeah. We'll see about Cabin Conversations. I will extend the same thing that I have to anybody that's been close enough to me. If you have questions or want to process, I like to drink coffee and talk to people. So if you have questions, let me know.
That's Whitney at woodlandschurch.org.
Yeah.
It's easy to reach out, or if you have her cell, text her.
Right.
So if you don't have her cell, her number is... I'm just kidding.
Hold the phone.
Email me and we'll talk about it.
Yep. So that's good.
Yeah.
So, Keelea, what was Sunday like for you? Sunday was a weird Sunday.
A weird Sunday?
It was a different Sunday. It was a different Sunday.
Okay.
Name tags, community.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Did it feel different?
No. I mean, well, I don't know. Yeah, different in the sense of that people were wearing name tags.
Yeah.
And I think that it just fosters a relational openness for people, which is really sweet to get to see. But I was service hosting this past weekend, so that was that's pretty normal of what happens with that, and what that means for my Sunday morning.
You're doing announcements and so more involvement in the auditorium side of things. Than usual.
Yeah. So it's just a little different.
Do you feel like you guys interacted with more people than usual?
There was interesting people saying your name that you're you wouldn't know it outside of the name tag. So I think there's a level of having name tags and knowing people's name. So the relational openness is fantastic. What I like about knowing people's names is knowing their story too. Sure. And so I think there's that this is the beginning
which will come. Yeah.
of something. It's not just the end. It's, you know what I mean? Does
Does
that
it
make
feel
sense?
a little artificial?
A little bit, I think. And I think there's a relational openness for a lot of people, but I think there's also like a little, maybe for somebody that is an introvert or big spaces might have been like, ugh, do I need to say your name? I can't read it.
I do want to say though, like as a staff member who has the privilege of sometimes going up on stage, there are often times that people know my name,
Yes.
and
Oh
I
my
do not know
goodness.
theirs. I'm sure you've both experienced this, you know, and they're like, yeah, Keelea. And I'm like, yes. And how do we know one another? Like, can we meet each other? Can I know you in reverse, you know?
Yeah.
Or people will say like, I know you. And I'm like, well, you know, the 5 minutes of me that was on stage giving announcements, which is still me, but a very like public facing, doing a job specific, you know, which is relaying information. Part of me, let's hang out and let you actually know me. And so I think there was like, for me, a little bit of like oh, great, this is like a reversal. Like I get to see your name tag, even though it's not on a screen, I get to see your name tag and I get to like greet you by name. Yeah. Which I think is really sweet.
I heard from a couple Sunday kids teachers that the opportunity to greet parents by name was so refreshing and so good, because you know the kids, and you want to know the parents, like that's a priority. But it's just a lot to hold in tension, and it's
it is
a lot when there's parents lined up waiting to pick up their kids in the hallways. Like you're like, just get out of here, come on. And so being able to
trying
give
to
that,
keep one line out, one line in, and pass off the right people to the right people. You're like, okay, I do want to know your name, but what expense here? Yeah.
So, oh, you're not Eli's mom, but you know, you're so and so. That's just more identity. Which is so good.
Yeah, for sure. I think we were kind of talking and processing ahead of this Sunday, right, as an all-staff team. And John had mentioned just how excited he was for the next couple of weeks, right, that people would be known by their names and that we would be able to address people by their names. And like what happens on week 2 or week 3 when you start to like know and remember. And I feel like for me, though name tags for adults is unique to this particular series, right? I spend a ton of time in Next Gen where name tags are a given, right? And I think what's really fun for me, or what's been really fun for me, is kids will sometimes like cover their name tag to make you be like a chat. You've experienced like, do you really actually know my name?
Yep.
And when I do,
leave it to teenagers to test that.
Well, teenagers will just
kids.
no, it's little kids.
First graders. And
teenagers will just take their friends' name tags, and then they've got 15 name tags, you know, and you're
call
not
them by one of them.
But little kids will cover their name because they really want to know, do you actually know them?
Yeah.
And what's really fun is seeing their face when you do, like when you still address them by name and they're like, oh, you do know my name. Like you do know me. Like, and you can tell there's like this glimmer to them. They're like, you know who I am. And I'm excited for like week 4 or 5 when no one's wearing a name tag, but people still know your name. There's something really powerful about that moment of like, I'm not wearing it on my shirt, but you still addressed me by it because you remembered who I was. That I think that's the moment that I'm a little bit more looking forward to.
So let's dig into that a little bit, because we talked about this at MLT yesterday, and Doug had some helpful tips in remembering names. But I don't think that there's anyone I'm not going to say that far, but there are so many people at Woodlands who want to know one another, but who genuinely struggle remembering names. And that's just reality. It's not that you're wanting to be ignorant. It's just that it's hard to remember names. And so it feels like a really unique 4-week window here, 3 weeks left, where we get to know people's names. Like, it's like, hey, here's the high pressure, like get them, but then remember them too. And so how do we get to a place where week 5, we're not like,
do we just take a ton of selfies in the foyer with people?
Could be
people
a good
and
time.
their name tags.
Have a name tag out there. Hey, let's take a picture together.
Could be a
It's
good
not
time.
the best idea, but
can we normalize that? Like,
don't
could
know.
that happen? Like, hey, I really want to remember your name, and can I take a picture of you?
Yeah.
Could we do that? Would that be weird? That'd be a little
How
weird.
about you try
Both
it?
of your expressions
Feels
say
a
that. That'd be
little,
weird.
you be the guinea pig,
try
and
it this
you
Sunday.
tell us if
We'll
you
talk
think
about
it's
it next
weird
week,
and
and then-
awkward when you do it.
The use their name challenge is so like that artificial thing. Like I'm excited for that to become a little bit more regular of a muscle.
I love that it's a year-long challenge.
Yeah.
It's so we have this 4 weeks, and it's the start of something, and week 5 will be interesting. I think it'll be cool. But the year-long challenge of it's
Out in the community.
And it's not there's maybe it's not, you don't go to the same thing every week, but it's a heartbeat that you kind of take in and say, I'm going to know this cashier's name.
Yeah.
And at what point does that turn into sharing a story as they're buzzing things?
At
what point does that
in staff prayer this morning,
Yeah.
2 people were praying for people that they used their name of that day,
Yeah.
who had then launched into their story.
Yeah.
And it was like a
That's what
cashier
I'm
at
excited
Walmart
about.
that she knew her parenting story and what she was going through because she used her name. It's incredible. And then you get to pray for these people.
Yes.
So
That's what I'm excited about. And I think so Doug's example, or like hot tip, which I think is a really good tip, is he records it. There's a note on his phone that he records.
Yeah.
this person's name and
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
details about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I think particularly in the size church that we have, we only have so much capacity to remember certain things and people, and relational capacity even is a thing, right? Like, and some people have more than others. And so I think initially when Doug shared that, I was like,
It feels artificial.
It feels artificial, but then you think about the scope of who Doug interacts with, and that's is essential for him. And it does. And then the example he gave was, I didn't remember this woman by name, but then I looked at my notes, and her story came back, and everything came back. It's like, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So maybe for probably more than 50% of the congregation, you've been coming here, you interact with people on a monthly basis, and you don't know their name.
Yeah.
Use this month as an opportunity to learn their name and figure out a way to remember that.
Yeah.
There's a couple in particular that I know that I interact with often, casually. They've got kids. It's like, hey, hi.
Yeah.
I've asked their name before.
Yep, I know exactly who you're talking about,
get
because
their
you can
names.
never remember their names.
Get their names in my
And then
head.
you're like, what's that? What? And I'm like, it's these people. And you're like, yes, it
So I
is
saw them
that.
on Sunday and I was like, oh, they're not wearing a name tag. Hopefully next week they do.
Yeah.
Because I think this is an opportunity for us to take that intentional step. And that's not artificial. That's just reality of what it is. Like, don't feel bad that you don't know someone's name, but don't miss the opportunity.
I think too, like, we are a big church, but you don't have to know everybody's name.
No.
Like, maybe in the next month, learn 3. That could be, I don't remember what triggered the thought in me, but it was this reality of multiplication, like in how discipleship moves. If literally every person at Woodlands Church was discipling one other person, imagine what could happen, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not us taking on 1,600,
No.
1,300, whatever
Shouldn't
the
be.
number is. It's maybe each one person knowing 3.
Do you want to hear kind of a crazy number? We've mentioned this church health assessment survey that's coming out starting on the 19th. And please, listeners, take that, help people take that. It's only available for 3 Sundays, 2 weeks. That's going to be important. But we had to submit a data form. And so one of the questions is average Sunday morning attendance across all ministries. And one of the questions is size of the church, not just average Sunday morning attendance, but how many people, to the best of our ability, can we say, consider Woodlands Church their church home? 3,600 is the name the front office came up with.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
So when you say, 1,700 people here on a Sunday morning, sure, but over the course of these 4 weeks, there's likely going to be about 3,600.
Yep.
And I guess that doesn't include our 200 plus online listeners too. And so it's just a lot of people. You don't need to know everyone, but you need to know someone, because that's what it means to be part of a church. It doesn't mean just showing up. So, observationally, this is anecdotal, but what I don't think we planned on, my family always comes early before second service to get donuts. That's breakfast for my kids, which we've got to fix. That's not how that works. They were out of donuts really early. Because I think people lingered more. All of the tables were filled in the foyer.
I did notice that.
Chapel foyer and all the other foyers and stuff like that. I just think there were more people hanging out.
Yeah.
Because I'm attributing that to the name tags.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that there weren't a ton of people like just leaving.
Right.
That's fine too.
Right.
But I was really, really struck by that.
Yeah.
So, so what do you think? We're starting. Just gonna poke in at this. It was a Vision Sunday, technically casting vision to multiply healthy churches throughout central Wisconsin. And you both have kind of sat in that for a little bit longer than the congregation has. I have too. What do you think the average congregant, or maybe not average congregant, but what do you think the congregation is wondering right now about that vision we're wrestling with or excited about?
Yeah. I think it brings up a lot of questions. And I think the number one that I've heard from people just like off the hip is where. Where is this going to land? And that's just so far, like we're not even close to that decision yet.
Do you think it's a where because I want it to be here, or is it where because I just want to know?
Both.
Okay.
I think there's people that come here that are going to come here, like that are local to Plover. So having one in hometown USA.
Hometown USA.
I don't want to say anything.
Yep.
Any specific towns is like, you know.
Yeah, I think I could say open a map and look at any of the places within a 60-mile radius, and that name's probably been mentioned as a possibility.
Sure.
But there's one of the reasons we're asking this is because, and I think John alluded to this, but we got to that point where we're like, we can come up with a data-driven thing, but if there's a grandma who's been praying that a church would be planted in hometown Wisconsin, like we're going to plant there, not necessarily so if people, I guess listeners, if you're like, I want it here, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
I think that's probably also my husband. Like I have a distinct memory of us early on dating, looking at maps together. Like we like to look at map. Like I have tons of maps in my car right now, just because I don't know. We like geography. So he was like looking at maps and he's saying, "What? Maybe we do like an hour radius out." But he's like, then you got to go on the traffic, like the thoroughfares, and like, where does an hour get you? Because then you're getting people, half an hour can come in, half an hour can go out, and then half an hour can, like, you actually get an hour and a half radius. So that's where Brian is literally looking at a Wisconsin map and saying, is it an hour here?
Have him email us, multiplication at woodlandchurch.org.
Yeah. I think there's also a question of I think what I want people to wrestle with is what is it? Like, what are your assumptions of what it will look like? Because what Woodlands looks like right now is that auditorium isn't going to go to hometown USA. But the feel of it and what draws you to Woodlands?
What's the feel that's going to go?
Yeah.
Right?
What draws you here?
Because the energy and the worship energy likely isn't going to.
And right.
But maybe the foyer energy does, right?
Sure.
I don't know. Because we're talking, these plants are probably starting with 70 to 120 people, and just off the hip too. Yeah. So that's going to be a very different single service sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other question, right, is how. How does God move that forward? How does the church partner with God in moving that forward, right? There's a lot of hows that we just don't really, we know some of and we don't know others of right now. And so I do think that's kind of been a question on some people's minds. It's like, well, how are we going to do that? That feels like a really big thing. What does that exactly then look like? And again, I think some of that we know and some of that we just don't know. You know,
it's so cool in that too. And just speaking of that for a second, it's been interacting with Deb and Don Smith, who were on the Bolivia team. And they're also involved in some of the leadership team stuff for this. So you'll see them on Sunday wearing a lanyard. You can ask them questions if you see them in the foyer. But in Bolivia, is it Sipe Sipe? They were like, they have a church planting mindset too. And it's more just like, people are coming from over there. Let's just have the people who are coming be a church over there. And sometimes I think there are some multi-campus churches in Wisconsin, free churches, that are highly intentional, highly invested in multi-campus ministry, like raising a ton of money and making a ton of things and I don't want to say it's a big deal, but it's like, it's a really big deal. And that's okay. And that's great. And that's happened in Milwaukee area. That happens in the Twin Cities. It happens all over the country. But there's also this casual, like, people are coming from over there. Let's put a church over there. And that, if you get a chance, if you see or know Don or Deb Smith, then you get a chance to ask them about it, or anyone from the Bolivia team. They came back speaking so highly of the multiplication mindset for those churches and how, like, it's a big deal, but
we might overcomplicate how big of a deal it is.
Sometimes.
I would agree.
Especially if we're like, we're going to build a building. Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, right, it's like, when we first learned about this as a ministry lead team, I sent I rarely do this. You can ask John how rare I do this. I rarely send initial immediate thoughts. I almost never do because I want to really pray and discern my thoughts before I share them with others. And I sent immediate thoughts to John. And I said, I will tell you that probably 2 years ago, pre-seminary, I would not have understood the value of what it means to have a local church really truly be local and localized. My ecclesiology has shifted since seminary. And that's through multiple classes. One of my favorite books that I read in seminary that I've read twice since then because I love it so much is called Dwell by Dr. Barry Jones. Fantastic book, but he talks a lot about the idea of a parish and how we've moved so far from that. When we're driving 30, 45 minutes, that's not your community anymore. Your neighbors right next to you, that's your parish, that's your community. And if there is not a church there that you can truly be the hands and feet of Jesus in that community, because you're driving an hour or whatever to get there. He's down in Dallas, so they drive, anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes people drive to get to a specific church or whatever. Yeah. But he just raised so much that value of that for me. And then my ecclesiology professor did too. But I think just now I just have a very different mindset around, when we talk about the local church really being part of a neighborhood community where if it's only 100 people coming, but that so-and-so has a need or something happens, you can truly just be there pretty quickly for them versus sometimes here we have to jump through a lot of hoops to do care because there's just so many people we're caring for and there's just so many facets to that. We have to be very strategic about those kinds of things. Sometimes that gets muddied and complicated then, where I feel like in a local church where those are your neighbors, it's okay, well, they need food. Let's go get them food. And I just think there's something just really, really beautiful about that vision that really excites me when I think about multiplication, not just multiplying Woodland's DNA, but really just planting additional healthy churches across central Wisconsin. Man, what a gift when we hear people driving an hour and a half from wherever they're coming from. My goodness, what a gift it would be to get really good, healthy churches to them.
And it's
another team to so you talked about Bolivia team, but the London team.
Yeah, the London
was
team,
just the aspect of parish was something that I came back with, just seeing Ian, the pastor at Shaftesbury, was he knew his parish, and then knew that people were coming from the neighborhood next to him. He's well, then we need to plant there, and was raising up Harrison underneath him to be able to go and do that. And so just that. Walking and doing prayer walks with him, we were walking the streets for the people that he knew. And there were people passing by that he called by name, knew their story. Yeah. Hey, I was praying for this thing for you. Where is that at? Kind of thing, was just this local body being integrated into the community that it was there for. Yeah. Was beautiful. So the London team would be another team to connect with about what it looks like.
And those teams and some of the stories of these teams that are coming back have been reasons that we've continued to feel, the elders have continued to feel affirmed in this direction, which is such a cool thing. And I think that's probably one of the congregational questions too, is how did we get here? What? And if you've come to a congregational meeting, even John's annual report last year had planting churches in it, but it was not a big thing. It was a pretty subtle breeze past. And so it's been inching that way. And there's maybe been little hints of it here or there. But I think for a lot of the congregants, it's wait a second, where did this come from? And so John was just talking about how do we share some of the breadcrumbs that have led us to this point? And those teams have been a huge piece of that, those stories coming back.
Correct me if I'm wrong in my assessment of this, both of you. This is opinion piece. But I think the way that I've watched John lead, that's different than what I'm used to with Brian, is he introduces an idea and is wanting to invite feedback.
100%.
And I'm not saying that Brian wasn't inviting feedback, but Brian was delivered something a little more, what are we using? Baked
is the phrase that we're using.
And I think there's a congregate, if you've been here longer than 3 years, you might still be kind of
used to that or
wondering it's just a different way of leadership.
Yeah.
And so I think this series in particular is not a baked idea. It's a vision that we have, and it's inviting feedback.
Yeah.
Very
Can
much
we
so.
talk about that just for like a hot
Yeah.
second? Because I was thinking about this after we had a conversation. I was thinking more about this, and I was thinking about the fact that like so often in Scripture, the leader or leaders who have the vision, who get the vision first for something, there are a lot of people around them who aren't given that same vision yet, and it's kind of their responsibility to take that back to the people, right? And sometimes in that, there's lots of parts of faith that you just have, you as the one with that vision, you're stepping out in faith in making asks or feedback or decisions or whatever it is that you just don't fully have the answer for yet, because either it hasn't been clear to you yet, or you just need more pieces of that puzzle. And so you're sort of walking forward in baby steps of faith, saying, okay, Lord, I think this vision is clear, but I'm still discerning how it goes out forward. And I had said this to you, but like, I think sometimes we sound really, really confident. It's one of the things of just being a leader. Sometimes we sound overconfident in things, and it makes it seem like something is further along than it is. What we jokingly said is we're kind of we don't have a full meal. We're really bringing the salad right now to the table.
So this is the analogy that we came up with today that I think John will probably use on Sunday. So it's probably some sort of a Sunday
preview.
sermon.
Oh, fun.
But we're not saying, hey, church, we're going to Walt Disney World on May 7th and we're flying and this is where we're going to stay and these are the rides we're going to go on. We're like, hey, we're going to go on a vacation. But where are we going on vacation?
Yep.
And when?
And how?
And who? And how are we going to get there? And how? I don't know. That's what we want help.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Speak into.
So the elders feel called that we're going to multiply healthy churches, but like what and the where and the how and the stuff like that. Like we're just going on vacation, and we might get feedback. Like we might be like, oh, we're not as healthy as we thought we were, or oh, this isn't. Like there's still room in that to adjust that vision as we get feedback. But where I think this fails is if we don't get feedback.
Yeah. Yes. If you say nothing because you think it's baked, you think this is good, you think that we're...
Like we have a site and we just haven't said or things like that.
Let us dispel that probably pretty quickly from you and put some truth behind the fact that we really actually are wanting and inviting and needing your thoughts. And
I think to go back to your, like, the leader has the vision. There's a group of people that have a vision.
There's a group of people who have a great vision.
But the discernment of where that lands is dependent on people. Like we're expecting the discernment process to have people's voices.
Of course.
And the Spirit moving within that.
Yes. And prayer. Like, my goodness, we didn't, I said this was my bad because I changed some announcement pieces. So as a service host, my bad. But really part of those 5 pieces that were on that postcard, if you took one, if you didn't get one this week, but one of the key pieces of that is inviting you to pray with us. Please don't forsake that. Like we, in order for this to go forward in any way, we need to be on our knees in prayer, and we need to do that together as a body. So yes, we want your feedback. Yes, we want you to take the survey. Yeah, we want you to go to the website, the webpage for Known by Name, but like, please take the invitation to prayer really seriously, I think, in this time.
So if you go to the Known by Name webpage, woodlandchurch.org/known-by-name, which isn't too bad. It's Known by Name with dashes in between it, That's where the QR code leads and stuff like that. The second action point right now, and that'll change a little bit, but is prayer. You can sign up for those prayer. We'll send out every other week. We'll send out some prayer opportunities for you to pray along.
That's great.
But we will end up having concerts of prayer. We'll have community prayer walks, just gathering in communities. Certainly when we know where this might be happening, we want people to be gathering there in prayer.
Sure.
And we'll continue developing those things. But even I was meeting with a group of people last week, I've said this in a couple contexts, who have been at Woodlands for a long time. We were just reflecting at the history of Woodlands. It was just this beautiful conversation. And at one point, someone said every major movement of Woodlands was marked by a period of intensive prayer. Like Operation Build, when we bought this property, when we built the original building at 190 Hoover, up to For the Sake of the Name campaign, when we built the auditorium and navigated through that. There was just very clear prayer. And that happened congregationally and that happened individually. And so I reiterate that 100%. We left Sunday morning and I checked and there were 4 people who had signed up to receive those prayer prompts. And I know that there's no it's not a very direct, you have to scan a QR code or go to a website and sign up for that. So that'll build up as we get more opportunities, especially digitally, to sign up. But please go to that site and join us in prayer for that. So, yeah. Well, this is going to be a fun season, I think, and there's lots to learn. But please, that multiplication@woodlandschurch.org. Do not hesitate to send anything into that. And then if you want to be anonymous, there are those cards at the info centers. You don't need to put your name on that. So just write those out, drop them in. More than anything, it's feedback. Feedback, and we don't want. It's not like, hey, everybody get on the wagon, we're going somewhere. It's like, let's start pulling together. There's kind of ownership concepts here.
Dave, is somebody allowed to send a question that says, I don't know what to ask. What question would you ask? Do you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes people just don't even have a beginning framework to even know. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. What is the question I should be asking?
Yeah. And in some of those things, it might just be okay, then just wait. We get another Vision Sunday. We'll continue talking. There's things that there's continued conversations that'll be coming out of this.
Sure. Yeah, that's good to remember.
Probably some listening sessions and things like that too. So you don't have to have questions. You don't have to have concerns or fears or insights or worries or anything like that. But if you do.
But in the process, as you do, if you do. I do think that's another difference between the different leadership styles is sometimes John introduces something and there's I don't have enough detail to actually know how to ask a question right now.
Yeah.
But this is the start of a process that will hopefully start. I'm listening to just the things you talked about.
Yeah, this isn't a one and done. No. If you this week don't have a question, that is okay, right?
Known by name is 2 weeks. This vision is kind of 10 years.
Yeah.
We're not sprinting towards anything. We're trying to walk at the pace of faithfulness with the Lord. Yeah, but we're not also looking to plant one church. And we're not just planting churches. If it's church health revitalization or anything like that, it's whatever the Lord leads us to. But my goodness, let's just be about Central Wisconsin and the gospel going forward. And
so even that, you bring some words up that maybe haven't been shared on a Sunday. Tune in to the channels where you're getting information.
Cabin conversations.
If you haven't formed a question yet, there's information coming out. You just kind of got to tune in. Sunday, yes, but if there's listening sessions, yes, those too. If there's prayer prompts to sign up for and you don't know what to be praying, sign up there first.
Yeah. First round of prayer prompts go out tomorrow, which is probably when this podcast lands. So, whoopsie.
If you sign up late, do you have to wait till the next round, or
probably?
Will it
I don't think I have a system to send it differently.
Yeah,
such as it is. So, all right, hey congregation, be praying for us. Keelea, really quick before we go, what's in your glove box?
My registration papers, my insurance papers.
If you open it, what does anything spring out at you, or is it just pretty empty?
No, my insurance packet, my registration packet, and a tiny car diffuser.
Okay.
There's
something.
Yeah, because it just has nowhere else to go.
But it's clean, it's tidy, it's organized.
Yeah.
Oh. Any napkins? Do you have napkins in there?
No, they're in the center console, along with the little trash bags for the little trash can in the car.
Yeah.
Little trash can in the car with trash bags?
I think we have a very different car experience than most of our guests at this point.
And,
what is going on?
And my little safety tool, right, that cuts my seatbelt and
or breaks the window. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to use my elbow for that. Anyway, I'm learning.
Trash bags.
You open mine and things fly out at you. There's so many napkins in there. So I have a Subaru, and to get the oil, not the oil, the gas open, it freezes sometimes shut. And so then I've had to use a credit card and cracked enough credit cards that I've then got tools from Amazon, but they get wedged in there and then spring the thing open. It's a jungle in there.
Oh, no. It's not. I don't know.
But our last 3 guests have been super clean and
yeah, we thought this was going to be a very interesting, and I think I'm learning things about people.
Yeah.
But so okay.
We're assuming
I don't know. Yeah. No, the glove box is pretty.
Buttoned
the
up.
rest of the car, not so much, because I have a teenager, right?
Yeah.
And she is driving the car now, so she comes in. I'm like, do you want a purse? Do you want a bag? Do you want something to put your 10 things that you've just thrown into the cup holders and the little area underneath where the radio is? She's like, no, I'm fine. And I'm like, your level of stuff everywhere is honestly not fine for me, but I'm super glad it's fine for you. And I'm so glad that really soon you're going to drive your own car and, and all that stuff is going to go.
there.
So that's, no, nothing.
Okay. Well, fascinating.
Well,
Sorry.
Well, hey, we'll continue processing this. Excited for next week. We're going to be on next week.
think so.
Yeah. We're
We're
just
so
crushing this.
regular.
We're incredible. So, all right. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of Cabin Conversations. Bye.
bye.